Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. Today we're going to discuss one of my all-time favorite anime, The Devil is a Part-Timer. With Season 2 being recently announced, I felt it was appropriate to talk about Season 1, the light novels, and what I think Season 2 will be covering. Before we get started, please like and subscribe for more content. There will be a spoiler warning later on for Season 2, but I don't think a Season 1 spoiler warning is necessary for an 8-year-old anime. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the character design difference between Season 1 and Season 2. From what I've seen of the trailer of Season 2, the character designs are more based on the light novel artwork instead of the manga artwork like Season 1. See for yourself. Here's Mao in the manga and Season 1. And here he is again in the light novel and Season 2. Now here's Emi for comparison. Season 1 in manga, and now the light novel in Season 2. The character designs are much softer in Season 2, which I feel better fits the comedic nature of this series. Yes, there is over-the-top action in places, but at its core, this series is a comedy. Devil is a Part-Timer is a light novel series written by Wagahara Satoshi. Unlike a lot of other novels, this series began not as a web novel, but as an award-winning novel. Wagahara submitted the first volume to ASCII Media's 17th Dengeki Novel Contest in 2010 and won the Silver Prize. That same novel was first published in February 2011, and the final one in the main series was published in August 2020. He's written spin-offs as well, but the core series has 21 total light novels. All but the last 3 have been released in English in both physical and digital formats. You can buy the first 18 books on Bookwalker by clicking the link in the description below. I'm going to assume that if you're watching this video, you've already seen Season 1 of Devil is a Part-Timer. If you haven't, here's a quick rundown. Satan, ruler of all demons, sends his 4 generals to take over the world of Enta Isla. As his plan to rule the world is about to come to fruition, a hero rises up. The hero, along with several stalwart and powerful companions, defeat Satan's army and push them back to the central island. In a climactic battle, Satan is defeated by the hero and forced to flee through a portal with his sole surviving general. The portal leads them to modern-day Tokyo. Because there's no magic on Earth, the demons are unable to maintain their forms and appear to be human. Using what little magic power he has left, Satan hypnotizes some people into forging an ID for himself and Ashia, his general. Assuming the name of Sadao Mao, he eventually finds employment as a part-time worker at McDonald's. That's right, McDonald's. One day, while riding to work, he meets a young lady caught in the rain. She looks lost and forlorn, so he gives her his umbrella. A couple days later, that same young lady is outside McDonald's waiting for him, accuses him of being Satan, and attacks him with a knife. Come to find out, she's the hero, Emilia. She followed Satan and Ashia through the portal and is determined to complete her mission. Of course, the cops get called and that puts a pause on their little spat. Emilia proceeds to spy on Mao and Ashia, and more characters are introduced as the series goes on. Emilia, or Emi Yusa as she's known in Japan, is the character who goes through the most change in the anime, which is no wonder based on what happens to her throughout Season 1. By the climax of Season 1, she's seen Mao perform numerous acts of kindness. She's witnessed him be helpful, courteous, kind, and generous. She's seen him burn through his energy reserves without hesitation to repair damage wrought to the city by his enemies. Turns out she's been lied to by the church her whole life. In fact, the archbishop, who was once her stalwart companion, turns out to be one of the biggest antagonists in the series. The pillars that made up her entire life, everything she's been taught, demons are evil, angels are good, obey the church, come crumbling down, and she's left not knowing what to do. And along comes her archenemy, the enemy of all mankind, in fact, to rescue her from the one being she was taught to worship. Devil is a Part-Timer Season 1 drew its story from the first 2 light novels, as well as a single story from Volume 7, the one where Lucifer gets scammed and forced to buy a ton of stuff. So if you're wanting to read ahead and don't want to reread what you've already watched, I recommend starting with Volume 3 of the light novel series. I'm a completionist, though, and love making comparisons between the two. So if you're like me, go ahead and start with Volume 1. Now that we've covered Season 1, I'd like to make some predictions on where Season 2 is going to go, based on what we've seen in the trailer. Consider this your spoiler warning. From the trailer, I think it's obvious that we'll be getting the story from Volumes 3 and 4, but I'm not certain that we're going to stop there. There's a possibility we'll go all the way to Volume 10, but that's a lot to try to cover in a single core without skipping content. Volume 3 centers around the introduction of Alice Remus, the self-proclaimed daughter of Emi and Mao. You can see a darkened image of her in the trailer. If you thought the relationship between the two archenemies was complicated before, it gets even more insane after they have a daughter. The two split custody and almost immediately stop fighting each other. Mao figures out that Alice Remus is actually a seraphim fragment, a literal fruit of the world tree with untold powers beyond those of demons or angels. In fact, Emmy's sword and armor were also a piece of seraphim. It was that seraphim fragment that Serial was after at the end of Season 1. Coming home to the Demon Lord's castle, they find their apartment occupied by the Archangel Gabriel, along with several other angels. Gabriel wants to take custody of Alice Remus, but they convince Gabriel to come back the next night. The next day, when Mao tries to stop Gabriel from taking Alice Remus, the Archangel almost kills him. But Gabriel is stopped when Alice Remus headbutts him through a wall, and a fight ensues. In Book 4, on top of the devil not having a home anymore due to Gabriel being thrown through a wall, his place of employment is undergoing renovations. So his sole source of income is gone. However, the landlady's niece is running a beach house restaurant and needs some workers. Mao, Ashia, and Arushihara all go work for her for a couple of weeks. Emmy, Susanoo, Alice Remus, and Chiho all tag along as well. While there, a demon from Enta Isla shows up and warns Mao and company of an impending problem. Now, the events from Volume 3 could be covered in 2 or 3 episodes, and Volume 4 could be covered at the same speed, but I'm not sure it will be. It all depends on how much fan service the Season 2 team wants to add. It is a beach arc, after all. My biggest question is, where will this season end? If they cover every detail in the books, we will probably end at Volume 4, but I get the feeling we're going to go all the way to Volume 5. Maybe the series director will add an additional short story from Volume 7. The part of the trailer with Emmy flying over Tokyo could be from the story of her first few months in Japan before she met Mao outside McDonald's, or it could be from the fight with Gabriel at the end of Volume 3. There are 2 scenes in the trailer that I can't figure out. Emmy surrounded by a burning field, and Mao crossing swords with Emmy. The first scene doesn't happen until Volume 9, and the second scene doesn't happen at all. I mean, it could be from the climactic battle at the end of Book 4, but Emmy doesn't fight Mao. I have to wonder if it's just an image being used for the trailer to get people excited, or if it's a flashback to help people get caught up. It has been 8 years since Season 1 aired, after all. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I didn't spoil too much, but this video was mostly intended for people who have already read the light novels to have a place to discuss. Please leave a comment below if you have any thoughts on the subject. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor, Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all again next time.